Okay, it's now recording. So welcome to today's tutorial. We'll be going through practical 4 from last year. So let's begin. So this practical is mainly focused on advanced object orientation, right? So as previously discussed with the Firework Management Bureau, you will need to validate firework display transmissions sent by the pyrotechnician. However, the FMB forgot to mention that fireworks come in 2 types, rocket fireworks and fountain fireworks. So they come in 2 types. Each firework possesses the following attributes. Blah, 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 blah. There's rocket fireworks, and then for rocket fireworks, and then for fountain fireworks. So the first portion here is the set of data or information that's common in both classes. Then they highlight the things that are unique in each class. So for the rocket class, for the rocket firework class, it has its own unique set of data, and then fountain fireworks is its own unique set of data. And then we're also going to be doing file handling, I assume. Yeah. So let's start. So you're going to be given additional files for this project. So let's use those as additional files. So I'm going to create a new project. So file, new project, Java project, right? Then I'm going to name it computer science to a practical 04 memo, right? And then next, and then finish. And then there's our, okay, let me do this. I don't like it when I see all of these projects here. I just want to have one project visible. Delete. Okay. Delete. Okay. So there's the project, right? Then I'm gonna go to my additional files. Remember the main .java or the main class should not be placed in a what is this? Lost my train of thought. Should not be placed in a package. So I'm just going to copy it as it is. So copy here at the top, go to my source folder, click on it, and then paste it in there. It should be in a default package. Then when we create all the other classes, we're gonna put them in a package. But I think they already come pre-installed, right? Like in the jar file, because we also have a jar file. So I'm gonna need to create the lib folder to put the jar file. So I'm gonna click on my project name, select it, then right click, then select new, and then scroll down to folder. And then here you put the name of the folder. So the little folder will be named lib. Then I'm gonna click finish. Then I'm going to go back to my files. Then I'm gonna select the jar file, copy it, go to my lib folder, select it, and then paste my jar file in there. Once you have the jar file, right, you need to include it into your project. So to include the jar file into your project, you're gonna select it, right click, and then go to build path, and then add to build path. So sometimes the jar file that you're given, right, you're unable to like open it. So for example, okay, in this case you can open it, but sometimes you're unable to open it. So in this case you can. So this one is pretty straightforward. You just have a class that tests your solution. So yeah, we're just gonna use that. So I'm going to go back here. I have the data folder, which has my files for file handling. Then I'm gonna click extract. And then let me see. So these are all the files inside. It's practical 4 for you guys, right? But this is, oh, I see. Yes, I see. Makes sense. So I'm gonna select the, what is this? The project. Then I'm gonna paste that folder, the data folder. Then there's my files. These are all of my files. So this is still from previous practical. So I'm gonna delete this folder because now I've pasted it there. I'm sorted. Let me check something. Practical 3 didn't it have? Yeah, this is annoying. So I thought maybe you didn't have what is this, a batch file, but it actually does have it. So we're gonna use that batch file that we were given. I think they from the next practicals they expect you to go find the batch file and download it on Eve. So I'm gonna go back here. Remember the batch file is supposed to be in the docs folder. So I'm gonna create a new folder and then name it docs and then paste the batch file in there. And then done. So this is my project setup. So the setup is done, right? So I don't know why in this class, okay, this is really annoying. You have to create every single class from scratch. It seems, yeah. Acknowledging the instantiation of a firework object of either toString, introduce iDisplayable interface in the package, display. In this practical exercise, utilize the provided p04.jar file and accompanying text files, which are categorized as follows. So we have dirty files, clean files, and so forth. So let's see. But something feels like, I feel like something is missing. In the additional file, I see there's the additional, let me see. The jar file, or maybe, yeah, I think this person downloaded the wrong jar file, if I'm not mistaken. Because if we had the right, let me see. Yeah, I think this person downloaded, this is the wrong jar file. So I don't know what we're gonna do now because this is the wrong jar file. Because if you look at the question paper, this is practical 4, right? Yeah, that's practical 4. So if you look at the jar file that's given, it's incomplete. They're supposed to have all these classes. Why do I say so? Because if you look at the mark sheet, it says updated UML diagram for all classes. So you just basically using previous solution to do the solution. Then firework inheritance hierarchy. There should be, there's no part where it says, okay, let's see. The project runs the P04 main test with the P04 main test as main method. Hmm. But then it seems like something is missing. Or it's fine. I guess they want you guys to create all the classes from scratch. But they didn't, I don't know why are they not specifying in the mark sheet? Yeah, they didn't specify in the mark sheet. All they're talking about is toString methods, iDisplayable interface, regex, yeah. V- Validate method. That's all they're talking about. They're not talking about anything else. They didn't specify that, okay, create this class, there's marks for that class. They didn't talk about anything of that nature. So yeah, this practice was a bit unclear. So let's see. So it seems like we have to create the classes from scratch. So we're going to start by creating the firework display class, then the which is going to act which is going to act as like the base class. Then we should have the firework or the different fireworks which are going to which are going to inherit from the base class. So let me scroll down and see. Do- First and foremost, the FMB insists with the wink and nudge that a firework display simply refuses to come to life without the guiding hand and occasionally the convenient shoulder to cry on of a pyrotechnician. Seriously, where else would they direct their standing ovations to? Or in the rare event, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this practical is not, it's definitely not straightforward. I don't know why it's not straightforward. So let me look at practical 3. Mm. Or maybe they want you to use your solution. Yeah, or maybe, yeah. Or maybe this, remember the with This is just something that I got from someone. So it most probably doesn't have everything. So there was supposed to be a solution. So I need to actually use my solution in this case, the one that we did in the previous tutorial. So I need to go look for that solution. It's under users, this, and then Eclipse Workspace, practical 3. So this is the solution that I need to use in my practical. So I'm gonna take this, copy this exe folder because I need the source code, and then click on source and then paste. And then let me see, firework display. Wait, let me check something here. Yeah, it had its own jar file. Yeah, something's not adding up here. Yeah, it's not really making any sense. It's fine. Let me add the jar file also here. So let me also include this jar file to build path. Yeah, this is missing. There's a lot missing here. I don't know whether we should just continue from this and create. Yeah, I'm gonna assume, right? Just based on assumption, I'm just gonna assume we still have the it's still called display file handler. So it's fine. I'm gonna continue from this, but the practical was supposed to be clear. So I need to create this package and create that interface that's going to have a display method for consistent printing of the class's textual representation to the console. Textual representation, let me see. Where's the way did they mention the display method? Um, they didn't mention, so I'm assuming it's not gonna return anything. Yeah, I'm assuming it's not gonna return anything. So yeah. So I'm just gonna create an interface and put it inside that package. So let's do that. So click on my project, click new, select interface, and then no, it's called, is it iDisplayable? Yeah, iDisplayable. So iDisplayable, and then generate comments, and then okay, the package name is not correct, so I have to use this package, copy, go here under package, paste that package name, and then click finish. So I should create a separate package. Then the only thing that this interface has is the method to display. So public display. They didn't talk about, they said they said a string representation. Let me read this properly. So introduce the iDisplayable interface in this package with the display method for consistent printing of the class's textual representation to the console. So you're just printing. So they didn't say return. So I'm assuming it's just going to be void. So just a simple display method and then done. That's all you have to put there. They didn't mention any other function here. They didn't mention any other function. So close that. We have our interface there with the display method. Then now I think what's left is to create the other two classes, right? Remember they said that now there's two types of fireworks. So we need to create the other two classes, the rocket and the fountain. So what I need to do is to double check this. So this information is still in this class. So we have color, firework ID, firework name, fuse length. It's still the same thing. Fuse length, color, name, idea. So it's still the same thing, so that's fine. And then we need to create two additional classes. So let me see. We need to create firework. Yeah, so firework, rocket firework, and fountain firework. So it is. So I'm assuming this is the unique stuff in each, right? Yeah, it should be the unique stuff in each. Even though we're still using e-color, but I guess it's something else. So this is also e-color. Let me see the color of the firework upon the detonation. So each firework has the following attributes, right? And then for rocket fireworks, yeah. So even though it's still another color, so I guess it's a different color. So it's fine. I'll just follow the instructions. So for rocket fireworks, these are the three unique things. So we're gonna include that. So let's create our classes, right? So I'm gonna start with firework, rocket firework. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna put it under model, right? Because let me see. What about before we continue, I need to do this thing correct. Let me see. The enhance. Yeah, okay, they say enhance, meaning improve it. So that means it's still in the same package as the previous practical. So basically, you're actually supposed to copy some stuff from the previous practical into this practical. So I'm going to create a new class under this package name .fmp.model. Then it's going to be called rocket firework. And then inherited, I don't want to do all those things. But there's a convenient thing about Eclipse. You can specify the base class of the class you are creating by going to browse, and then here, everything that's selected, you delete it, and then you type the name of the base class. So firework. Then you select that class and then click OK and then click finish. But I'm not going to do that shortcut. I'm going to type it manually, but you can do that. So I'm going to click finish and then do this. Then we create the next class, and it's called fountain firework. So fountain firework. Generate comments, finish. And then there we go. So we're gonna start with for rocket fireworks. So I'm gonna go back up. So we have rocket fireworks. We have a rocket black powder color. The trail color e-color emitted by the rocket before explosion, right? So we have that black powder color. So I don't know what to name it. I'm gonna call it powder color. Yeah, let me call it powder color. But then before I do that, I need to tell Java that this class is a derived class. So I need to specify, or a child class. I need to specify whose parent this class is. To specify that in Java, use the keyword extends, meaning that I'm extending the functionality of this class to create this new class. So which class am I extending? It's called firework. So extends firework, right? But you see that there's no derived methods and things like that, or methods that are supposed to override. So we don't have, that's why if you have methods that you're supposed to override that are part of firework class, it's going to show a red line here or here. Then you're going to right click and say add to add those methods. In our case, we don't have methods that we should override. So that's fine. So we're gonna have powder color. So I'm gonna say this is my instance variables, right? So I'm gonna have private e color, right? I'm gonna name it powder color, right? Powder color. And then we have star count, the quantity of star spores released upon explosion. So star count, they said the quantity. Quantity can only be an integer. So I have to use int. So you can't have 1.5. Technically you can, but we typically use integers for that. So int star count, and then star radius, which is definitely a double because the radius, it is to be a double. So star radius, private double star radius, right? The radius. Then I think we're most probably gonna need a constructor and things like that. So we'll see. Let's see. Fuse length, star count. Yeah, so as you can see, they said 20 stars. So if you didn't know the data type, you can read more. You can go downwards here to read more. So they told you 20. So 20 is an integer. And then radius, they told you 1.5. So that's a double. And then BP color is just E color. Those ones are easy to find out. So yeah, they didn't talk about methods. I don't see any extra methods here. So I need to create a constructor at least, and then create accessors and mutators for all of these variables. So how do you extend a class? How do you actually inherit from a class? So the way you go about doing it, right, the right way, is you have to go and look at your previous class. You see the previous class is constructor. Let's just start with constructors, right? So the previous class is constructor. It is these parameters. It is the firework ID, firework name, fuse length, the color. When you're overriding, it's always mandatory to specify all of them first in the new child class, then comma, you add the additional variables of that class. So I'm going to do this and I'm going to copy everything here, copy, and then I'm going to create the constructor. So public, remember the constructor is a builder to build our object. So it takes the same name as the class, as the object that we're trying to build. So we're trying to build a rocket firework. So we're going to name it rocket firework, the constructor. So you can just put there Java dog, whatever. But then let me not put it, not put it here. Let me put the parameters first. So I'm going to paste this. So that it's readable, I'm going to do this. And then put it like this. Then I've copied all the parameters that were in the base class's constructor. Then comma, I add all the new or the unique instance variables of that child class, which is these three instance variables. So I'm gonna expect another e color, powder color, comma int star count, comma double star radius. Then now, since I've passed all of the parameters, now I can do this. I can put the Java doc. So to put Java doc, you put 1/ followed by 2 asterisks, and then you press enter, and then boom, there's your Java doc. You don't have to actually like explain, like write this. But if you have the time, you can do that. But it's this. I think this is fine because the variables explain themselves. Firework ID, firework name, fuse length, color, powder color, star count, star radius. To me, that's pretty self-explanatory. So in the way Java works, right, when you do, especially with inheritance, because remember, this is inheritance. I'm extending another class to create this child class. When you're doing inheritance in Java, you you always, especially with constructors, when you create a constructor inside of the child class, if you read the textbook, it's going to tell you it tells you exactly what I'm about to tell you. When you have a child class, what happens is that in the constructor you for that child class, you only the first statement is to make a call to the base class's constructor. That's always the first statement. You try doing it in another way, or you call it last, error is gonna occur. So let me demonstrate that. So to call a constructor, remember use the super keyword. Super meaning go to my super class. That's what super stands for this scenario, super class. You can say super and use dot to use methods from a super class, or you can say super followed by brackets to call your super class's constructor. As you can see, it's now showing me a list of the available constructors in my superclass. There's one parameterless one, then there's the parameterized one. We want the parameterized one. So I'm gonna press enter there. And then that's the nice thing about Java. You see you're cruising nicely. You just click and then it auto completes for you. Try doing this in C++. Yeah, you have to write everything from scratch. There's no shortcuts in C++. So this is the first call. Remember the superclasses constructor, it expects these four parameters. And I'm passing those four parameters, which will be these first four ones. Then in the next line, after calling my base classes constructor, then I can now initialize the variables of this child class. So I'm going to say this dot color, no, this dot powder color is equals to powder color from the constructor. This dot star count is equals to the star count from the constructor. And then this dot star radius is equals to the star radius from the constructor. And then done. So this will be the proper way to use to create a constructor. And if you wanted to define also a parameterless constructor inside of your child class, you can still do that. So let's do that. So this will be the parameterized one. Then underneath it, I'll create a parameterless one. So public rocket firework, right? And then this will be the no args constructor. You don't have to write that, but it's just some useful Java doc. So since the constructor that I want to call has no parameters, so I'm just gonna use super parentheses and pass nothing inside the parentheses because I'm calling the base classes parameterless constructor. So here you call the base classes let me say no args constructor. So that's what you're calling. And that, remember what I said, it's always the first statement. So make sure you understand that it's always the first statement. Then underneath it, we can give our instance variables default values, right? It can be, eh, let me see what default values did they use here? Okay, just a random color. So yeah, we just choose any color. So we also do the same thing here. So I'm gonna say this dot powder color, and then we use the name of our class eColor, and then dot followed by a random color. Let me just choose green because remember this is a parameterless constructor. And then at the end of the day, these values will still be changed, but we just need to give them random values. And then this dot star count 0, and then this dot star radius. I'll just also initialize it to 0.0. That's it. So this will be the parameterless constructor. Typically, we'd put the parameterless constructor first. So let me just do that. So I'll put the parameterless constructor first, then declare the parameterized constructor after. Let me check something here. Let me check something here. Can't I do it this way? Yeah, let me do it this way instead. It doesn't matter how you do it. I just want to do it this way. Yeah, so like this. So let's try what I was talking. Let's try to prove what I was talking about. Let's say you didn't call the constructor first. You called it maybe not even as the last thing after a year. You see an error is gonna occur, and then it's gonna tell you that constructor call must be the first statement in the constructor. So as you can see, I'm not making this up, and all of this information is in the textbook. So go read the textbook. You'll find that it's very useful to read that textbook because Java has a lot of things in place. You need to understand everything. It's the little things that matter. So we have this, and then It's fine. I don't know what else how to actually structure it, but it's fine. So I'll just leave it like this. So once we have this, we can create our accessors and mutators for these instance variables. They didn't specify how we're going to you can I think you can, to be honest, you can leave it like this. This will be a complete class. It's done because we're not going to I doubt it that we're going to call or use those variables in there, but it's fine. We'll create the accessors and mutators. So I'm going to say let's start with mutate accessors first. So public e color. I'm gonna say get powder color. That's what I'm gonna name it. And then I'm just gonna return the color. So return powder color. And then I'm going to create another accessor. So get star count and then return star count. And then the last one is the star radius. So star radius, no, get star radius or get radius. Yeah, let me call it get radius. Get radius. Get star, and it doesn't look proper. So return star radius. Then you can add Java doc because there's marks for that. So return. You just explain what it returns. It returns the black powder color. That's what it returns, right? Color, not colors. And then I'm gonna put Java doc again here, and then this just returns the star count. And then I'm gonna go here. This returns the star radius. And then it's just simple Java doc, nothing too complicated. Then I'm gonna create my mutators or setters. So public void set powder color. Yeah, it's gonna be too long. Let me see. Get powder color. Yeah, let's call it get color. It's too long. Even though the name might be similar, but the main important thing is the instance that I'm using to call that method. So it doesn't matter if we have names or function names that are similar. Star count, let me say get count. Yeah, let me make it short. So set color, it takes in some other color, some other powder color, color. Then your Java doc. Why isn't it Java doc doing the right thing? Let me do that again. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Um, uh, copy, paste here. So this is just the black powder color, right? And then I should set it, right? So this dot powder color is equals to powder color, and then create the other mutators. So void set count int star count, then star count. Even though that's why it's very important to name your variables properly so that your code is self-explanatory. So this dot star count, just put the Java doc there. There's marks for it if I'm not mistaken. If you scroll down here, you see Java doc 5 marks. So don't lose those free 5 marks. So star count, and then I'm going to have void set, what's the other one? Set radius. Set radius, which is a double star radius. And then Java doc. And then here will just be the star radius. this dot star radius is equals to star radius. And then that's my complete class. There's nothing more to add. Yeah, there's nothing more to add. Then we'll create the other class, right, which is the fountain class. So yeah, it's fine. I'll write everything from scratch. I won't copy and paste. So this is also instance variables. Remember, on top of each class, you must put your details. You must say at author, and then you put in your surname, initials, student number. Then you say at version, you specify what practical. So practical 04, right? And then maybe you can put the year and say 2025, something like that. So it's important to write that you are the one who wrote this code. So that just in case, you never know, someone copies your code, you can sue them and get money. So let's see fountain fireworks. So rocket fireworks, fountain firework, we have the total display time. Yeah, I don't know what's the data type for time. We have to check. But remember time, you can have, it has to be a double, I think. Let's see. Is it fuse length, rate represents the fountain's total display time in seconds, which can vary. See, it's a double. They give you examples. So yeah, you need to do a lot of reading before you start writing things. So just be careful. So time. So I'm gonna make my variable short. I'm gonna call it time. Won't complicate anything. I'll just call it time. So private, and then transition colors. Keep it simple, colors. So they said a sequence of colors, right, exhibited. So this sequence of colors, we need to understand, look at examples so that we know the data type that we can use. So you see that they said enumerates all transition colors produced by the fountain during its display. These colors are evenly spaced throughout the duration and are formatted within brackets, separated by a pipe symbol, right? They're separated by a pipe symbol. So let me just double check something here. Mm, where's the data for yeah? Let's say partial 10. Let's just choose randomly. But then I don't see what they're talking about here. Oh, let me see. Fountain firework. It's this. And then this is what? Rocket firework, I think this one, FR. So yeah, you see there it is. It's going to be in this format. So I'm assuming this, they said a sequence. So it has to be an array. By this time, I don't know, can someone confirm with me? I want to be sure. Can someone confirm what have you guys have you been taught array list by now? You can type it down if you don't want to speak. You can just there's a chat section, just type it down. Just say yes if you guys have been taught array lists. Can someone please confirm? Can someone please type here? I hope there should be a pop-up on your side. Can you type there and say yes or no? Have you guys been taught array list yet? Array lists yet? Because I don't want to use it when you guys haven't been taught it yet. Okay, since no one's responding, I'm gonna go with the assumption that you guys have been taught. If you guys use it and they penalize you for using it and you haven't been taught, that's a you problem because I'm asking a question and no one's responding. So I'm just gonna assume you guys have been taught. So private,
Hi.
yeah.
Hey, can you hear me? No, we haven't been taught. We just can't type there. Like when we press chat, it's not allowing us to type.
Let me check. Let me check something. You haven't been taught array list yet. God, what are you guys being taught? I mean, by now, I'm sure they should have covered array lists. They haven't. I did, yeah, I do. I don't know whether it's question A or whatever. Is it Q&A? I don't know. Allow reactions, allow, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the Q&A, but if you're not taught, nah, this is going to be way complicated. You guys have to be taught by now. Because now the thing is, the problem becomes very complicated if you don't use an array list because you have to manage everything on your own. That's what I'm trying to avoid. But yeah, I'm going to use an array list. I know they haven't taught you yet, but I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, this practical doesn't, or maybe they're moving a bit slower this year. Maybe that could be the reason. Because to be honest, you check the date on this practical. It says 12 March, right? And for you guys, Tuesday is going to be 11 March, right? Yeah, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's going to be 11 March. So this is the right practical. So by now, you guys should have been taught the array list or something. Because do you know why I say why I'm complaining about not using an array list? Remember your previous practical, you were supposed to I don't know, was it you guys? Let me think. Was it you? Yeah, it's you guys. There's a practical on array whereby they said you should resize it. The array should resize itself automatically. Well, imagine trying to do that whilst also managing this, but it's fine. Let's not use the array list then. But you see what I'm talking about. It becomes very hard and complicated to. Yeah, no, let me use an array list. No, 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 no. Because I have to create a variable called capacity and a variable called size. And I must maintain those two variables while I'm adding. Yeah, and then there's gonna be resized. Then yeah, it becomes very complicated. So based on last year's practical, I think last year they had covered array list by that time. So I'm going to say array list. That's the type, and then what's the type of each element in this sequence, right? Or in this array. Basically, an array list is it's an array that resizes itself. So basically, what you were taught in that practical is what's being done behind the scenes inside this array list. So that's why it was created to save you time, so that you don't always have to manually manage it. So equal, I'm gonna say colors, right? Yeah, you see that it's actually not too complicated array list. It's straightforward. So I'm assuming your practicals on Tuesday is going to be different. It should be a bit easier than this, or not have anything to do with arrays, things like that. I'm assuming because if they haven't covered array lists by now, it's a problem. Or maybe they'll cover them Monday, then they say Tuesday, you must use them. I don't know. They know what their plans are. So I'm going to do this and check here. I don't know why is it not allowing you guys to chat. They're supposed to allow you guys to chat. Yeah, it's supposed to, I don't know. So we have fountain, fireworks. Yeah, it's only two things, colors, and then that's that. Yeah. So at least this is a bit better. So we're gonna have to repeat that same thing we did in the other class. So fountain, firework. We're gonna start with the parameterless constructor, and then or no args constructor. So no args constructor. Remember, there's marks for Java doc. Then the first statement in this constructor is a call to the base classes constructor. And then I'm going to initialize this dot time is equals to time. And then this dot colors, I need to instantiate it, right? It's an object. Remember, this is an object, just like a string. So new array list, and you can omit the type when you are instantiating it. Oh no, what am I saying? It's not zero. This is a parameterless construct. And then I'm gonna have the second constructor, which is the parameterized one. So public fountain firework. right? And then it's going to take in those parameters. So I need to go to my base class, look at all those parameters, and then copy them. Copy, go to back to my fountain, firework, paste them, then align it like this. Then so there's the parameters, right? Then I add the ones that are unique, that are part of this class. So double time, and they should, it's not advisable to pass a whole array list, but it's fine. Let me pass them. So array list, it's a very rare thing to do, to pass arrays like this, but let's do it because that's how the practical is, right? That's how it's structured. Then I'm just going to put Java doc here, and then I won't type because when I try to explain or give more information on each parameter, it's gonna be basically the variable name, because here I'm just gonna say this is the firework ID, of which the name of the variable already states that. So there's no need for me to add those extra comments. The variables are self-explanatory. So I'm gonna call super. Okay, let me do this. Let me say super to call my base classes constructor. Yeah, it seems like it doesn't want me to, doesn't show me a list of the constructors. So it's fine. I'll pass the parameters manually. Then color. Oh, I see the problem. Yeah, it was a me problem. I forgot to say that this class, it extends the firework class. Then now I can say super. Then I can just double click the one that I want, which is the parameterized one. But make sure before you double click, you pass the parameters like this, right? You pass those parameters first so that it auto completes based on those parameters. Then the next statement is to initialize the variables that are unique to this class. So this dot colors is equals to colors. And then done with the constructors. Then we do our accessors. So I'm gonna have public double get time. The thing is, the practical is not really specific on what you should return. Should it have accessors or not? So we're just putting both accessors and mutators. So it returns the time. And then public array list of colors, call it get colors. And then Java doc. So I'm not gonna write anything on the Java doc because it's really self-explanatory. And then I'm gonna create my mutator. So set time, which takes in time, and then Java doc, which is just the time. So there's nothing else to explain there. So time is equals to time. Then the last one, void set colors, which takes in a whole sequence of colors, basically a whole array of colors. Colors, then this, and then this dot colors is equals to colors, then done. So both of the classes are complete. So there's nothing else to put. Now we can continue to the display handler class, display file handler. So we need to do is a slight adjustment to the class, just a slight adjustment, because if you check in the practical, they did tell you that you just adjust it a bit. So you see, enhance the display file handler class. So continue with what you already had, but enhance it and change it a bit. So they want you to incorporate regular expressions, a regular expression pattern in each class to verify the completeness of data for object construction. So basically create regular expressions for each child class. or for each derived class. And then implement a static validate method in each class, right? To validate based on the provided line, issuing informative error messages as necessary. To validate on the process line, by validate, what do they mean by that? And then we have design a process. Yeah, they said in each class. So in each class, meaning in fountain firework class and in rocket firework class, we need to create a validate method, which takes a line that is going to validate. So I'm not sure if it's going to validate it based on the regular expression. So basically returns true or false. I think that's what they were expecting you guys to do here. Yeah, I forgot to complete the class. So we need to override. Okay, let's see. So implement a firework class hierarchy, acknowledging that direct instantiation of a firework object is impractical, right? So basically mean we create those child classes. That's it. And they like to use fancy English, but that's what they mean. Just create the child classes or the derived classes. Override the toString in all classes. So in all of the classes that you created, override the toString. So I need to override that toString. So remember, this is my base class. I can call any method inside of my base class. But if you look at my base class, it already has a oh, it doesn't have a toString. I didn't know. I thought it had a toString method. So it doesn't have. Yeah, that's a problem. If it had a toString, if our base class is a toString, we're going to use super to call that toString and then add additional information to that string. But in this case, we don't. We do have a print firework function, prints the details of the firework. We could technically use that, but nah, I don't think we should use that. I don't know why they're using %s everywhere. Remember, %s, it means that it's a string, but the only two strings is this. This is a color, which is fine. You can make it a string, but this is fuse length. It's an integer. So there's to use %d. So I already see flaws or problems there. So I'm not going to use print firework. I'll create the toString class itself. I'll create the toString function itself. So at override, I'm gonna put the annotation at override. The annotation, right, is just metadata. It's just information about the thing. It doesn't have any like huge significance. The code can work without it. So it's just there to help the compiler know that okay, this is a method that I did override or something like that. So public string to string, right? So I need to return a string, right? So the string that I'm going to return, yeah, they did teach you by now. They should have taught you about strings and string methods. So I'm gonna use string methods. So there's a method called formatted, right? You can use that. So you can specify the string here and say dot formatted, then or format, right? Okay, yeah, let's use format. Yeah, use format, then you pass in the string format, then followed by the values. So how does the format function work? It works the exact same way as printf function. So you see this printf function, whereby using percent something to represent that value. So this first %s, it means the first parameter or the first variable in this list of variables is a string, of which firework ID is a string. And then this second %s, it means the second variable represents a string, or I expect a string again, which is this. And then the third one is I expect a string again, which is this. And then the last one is I expect an integer. It was supposed to be an integer here, %d. But they clearly nobody's perfect. They made a mistake there. So I'll do it in my own way. I'll say, yeah, so this function, right? Let me see, dot format. Let me do this. Let me open it again. Dot format. If I highlight this function, you see that it returns a formatted string. It gives you back a string. So I can just simply say return uh, that string, right? So what's the string? So it's up to you how you want to structure it, to be honest. That's up to you. So let me see. Yeah, it's going to be the text is going to be very long, right? And it might confuse a lot of students. So let me think. Let's not do it that way. The way I'm about to do it is like a pretty advanced way. So this is how, let me show you an example. So let's make a simple example, right? So let me open main class, right? So there's my main class. Oh, there's errors here. Oh, yeah, there's a display method. I totally forgot. So we need to actually, I don't know. The thing is, these people are confused, to be honest. I don't understand. They confused what? I don't get it. Because they're saying override the toString method. At the same time, they're saying use this display method to present, to output that, I don't know. So it's fine. It's fine, right? So I'll do it this way. It's gonna be yeah, nah, it's practical, wasn't it? It needed you to know Java, yeah, like to really understand what's going on. It's fine. I'll make the toString and the display method. It's fine. So we forgot to say that we want to also use the something from the interface. So to do that, use the keyword implements. So you say implements followed by the interface. Basically, we call this realization of an interface. So you are realizing an interface, which takes you back to informatics 1B, right? You did learn this is revision. So that's what happens when you try and cram, to cram pass and forget. It's gonna keep coming back to you and then gonna be confused, of which you shouldn't be confused because they taught you. So don't cram, pass, and forget. Try to understand what you're learning. Read, go through the slides. So I'm gonna implement iDisplayable. If you actually have a way to link these things, you realize it's actually exactly the same thing you'll be learning over and over. The only difference is the syntax, because you did learn about interfaces in informatics, right? So that's nothing new. So you need to, it's going to show you an error because inside the interface, there's a method that you must override. So you're going to go to that error, hover it. To hover, it means just take your cursor over that part and then select add unimplemented methods. Click that, and then the error goes. And then if I scroll down, I should have that display method over here. The display method, right? What I'm going to write, let me show you, let me explain to you what I meant by this thing needs you to really understand Java. Here you're simply going to say sys out, right? Or system.out.println. And then just going to say this. This is going to look very weird, but this is actually straightforward. So remember this keyword, right? If you remember pointers, when you're talking about pointers or objects, right? We're talking about objects, right? In C++. This keyword will store the reference, right, of that instance. Basically, the address of where that object is stored. So, and by address, it means the current address or the current object. So this stores the address of the current object. So when I do this, right, I'm telling what is this? Java that output the current instance, right? The current instance is the current instance. There's nothing more I can explain on that. So for example, if you have firework, okay, this is fountain firework, right? So let's say you have an instance of fountain firework, right? F, something like this. And then you have another one called X, right? The other one is called X. If you were to say X.display, you call it the display method. In this scenario, the current instance is X. So therefore, this keyword will be updated to be X, to point to the X. And then if you were to say f.display, the current instance now is F. So this will be equal to F. So that's why I use this keyword because it accommodates all instances of this class. Or all yeah, all instances of this class. So any variable that you create using the name of this class, this function or this keyword refers to any instance that has been created. So that's why I do it this way. And one thing you need to understand about the print line method, right? When you pass in an object, it calls the toString method for that object, of which we did define it here. So that's why I'm going to reiterate again. Go read the textbook, or you're going to feel dismal because this is Java. You need to understand the theory thoroughly and know what you're doing because there's a lot involved in Java. C++, to be honest, is easier than Java because there's not much in C++. The only difficult thing in C++ is pointers, maybe templates and generic programming, things like that. But to be honest, it's easy. Java is a lot of theory. For example, this is the only information, this is information that you only find out if you read the textbook. You won't see it on YouTube. Do you know that in Java, to specify a double, you can actually put the letter D at the end, which just means it's a double, a small d or a capital D. Just like you can say F for float. You didn't know. Well, go read the textbook. There's a lot you can learn from that textbook. So I'm going to return the string representation of this. So how am I going to represent it? That's up to me. That's entirely up to me. So let me see what I can do, how I'm going to structure it. Right, I'm going to structure it this way. I'm going to say um, the name of the object, right? So firework like this, or fountain firework like this. So this, to be honest, this is typically how you output information for an object, or this is how you represent information for an object. You can do it this way. You say the object name, and then within parentheses, you pass in the parameter, the what is this? The instance variable names like time, blah, blah, blah. So you do this, maybe say time, and then you say equals to, then you pass in the actual value there. So that would be me doing like this plus value plus time, right? And then comma, and then you pass in the next instance variable and so forth. So this is what I'm trying to achieve. So there's many ways you can actually represent this. So I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna create a string, right? And I'm gonna call it output. It's gonna be an empty string, right? Then I'm going to say output plus or equals firework, fountain, firework, right? Open parenthesis, right? Followed by okay, no, I need to say what is this? I need to pass the first parameter. So the way I'm going to structure the object, right? So this is what I'm trying to achieve. Let me show you. I'm trying to have fountain, right? Firework, blah, blah, blah. Then it's gonna have time, and then the time, let's say 9 point what seconds, and then comma, it is the next thing, it is the next thing, and then there's the next thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to structure it in this way. So I'm gonna say fountain firework. So the way I'm going to structure it, I'm going to start by the variables that are common in both classes, which is the one from my firework base class. So firework ID, firework name, fuse length, and color, right? So I'm going to structure it in that way. I'm going to say ID, right? I'm going to say its ID is equals to, and then plus firework. So I would have to go to my super class and say super dot get firework, right? To get the firework. Yeah, you need to really understand what you're doing, Shem. You need to understand what you're doing, Shem. So that's why I always advise to read the textbook. I know it's painful. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I till this day I don't like reading, but I do it because I have to do it. So you need to just do it in order to pass. So plus equals to, and then the next thing that I need to pass is a comma, space. Then what's the next thing? Firework name, right? So it's the name is equals to plus super dot get firework name, and then output plus if you guys were not beginners, oh, but if you let's say it was prac 9 or something like that, we'll be using something called a string builder, which is basically a mutable string. Remember, a string is immutable, meaning it cannot be changed. Even though you think this is I'm actually changing the string, I'm not. Every time I use plus or equals to, I'm creating a whole new string. So this actually it actually makes your program very slow. Because imagine every time it must build a new string, delete the old one, build a new string. With the string builder, it doesn't do that. You just change the current string. But we will discuss that later when we get there. And then comma, after the firework name, we have fuse length. So fuse length is equals to plus super dot get fuse length. And then, yeah, it's going to be a long output. Comma, color. Okay, this one there's two things, right? We have these colors. What are they called? Transition colors, right? Yeah, transition colors. So it's fine. I'm gonna have color and colors, so that's fine. So this plus super dot get color. So there's the get color. Remember, the super keyword refers to my super class or my base class. So I'm calling the methods from my base class. They're optional. You can, your code won't stop working. For example, you see, it won't stop working. It will work, but I put them there to remind myself that I'm getting them from my base class. They're not part of this class. So that I don't have to scroll and look and try to decipher, oh, if they're not within this class, then it means that they're inside of my base class. I don't want to go through all that process to get to that simple conclusion. So output plus or equals to, we have this comma transition colors, or you can say time. Let's start with time. Remember, it's in that order. Total display time. So I'm gonna say display time. I won't write it in full. So display time plus super dot no, not super. It's this. It's inside here. So plus that time plus equals to comma transition colors. So transition colors is equals to plus colors, and then I put in closing parenthesis, and then done, right? Then I just simply return my string output. And then that's it. That's the string represent. That's how I chose to come up with a string representation of this class. It's this way. And then yeah, and then we're done, right? Yeah. So you might ask yourself, after this, why didn't I put a new line character like backslash n? Why didn't I do that? Well, remember this, you call it the print line function, which puts the end of line character. So I don't have to worry about that. So there's my string representation, and I'm pretty much gonna do the same thing inside Rocket Fire. So I'm gonna copy this, and then this is actually bad coding practice, but let's not get into those details. So there's a display. I need to realize my interface. So implements I displayable, displayable, and then done. So when you're implementing an interface or realizing an interface, you start by putting extends, right? You start by putting inheritance, then implements comes after. You put it in that opposite in the wrong order, error. So that's why I said go read the textbook. All of these things should be very, very easy if you read the textbook. Should be child's play. So you have powder color. So it's called black powder color, right? So I'm gonna have color there, then Yeah. Then black powder color. So here I'm gonna change this to black powder color is equals to powder color, right? Then I'm gonna have what are the other two things? Star count and star radius. So I'm gonna have here star count. Let's start with star count, and then plus star count. But then this is not the last variable, so I need to continue adding. So plus equals to, and then I'm gonna have comma. This is star radius. Radius is equals to plus star radius. Since this is now the last variable, I can append the closing bracket. Because remember, to format this, I put in an opening bracket there. And remember, copying and pasting, that's why it's not advisable, because what if I forgot to change this to rocket firework? I'll be in trouble now. So try to make sure you change the right places if you do copy and paste. So this is the string representation. And remember, if you read the textbook, the print line method, if you pass an object, it calls the toString function for that object. So I'm passing this current instance here, which is going to call the toString method. In other words, it means I'm saying this dot toString. In other words, but since I understand Java, I don't have to call the toString. I know that it's going to call it. So now the classes they should be 100% complete now. Oh no, wait, I'm lying. There's this thing. What did they call again? Validate something. So let's check. You see that I'm scrolling up and down. There's a lot to read. They're putting details, a little bit of details there, a little bit of details there. So you need to go grab them one by one, which is really a drag. You should just put it under one place. So enhance the display file handler for improved data encapsulation and processing, right? Incorporate regular expression pattern in each class to verify the completeness of the data object to verify the completeness of data for object construction. Oh, English is a problem. So also go revise your English or something. I now understand what they're saying here. They're saying incorporate a regular expression pattern in each class, meaning put a regular expression pattern inside each class. So basically, each class should have its own regular expression that represents it. Then implement a valid method within each class and use that pattern to validate, to match if that pattern is valid by taking a line from that function. So there's a lot of it's been I'm speaking a lot, but you might not understand, but let's just do it. So what they mean is that you're gonna come here and create a pattern, right? So it's final. Is it static final or final static? I think it's the other way around. Like this. To be honest, the order doesn't matter, but I'm just choosing. Yeah, let's do it this way. Static final. Yeah. So static final, this is a rocket. So we have rocket, firework, and fountain firework. So the names that I'm gonna use for my patterns, I'm gonna say rocket and fountain pattern. So rocket pattern and fountain pattern. So this will be equals to remember it's a constant, so I have to say pattern class and call the compile method and then pass in the regular expression. Yeah, oh, it's incorrect syntax. I think, oh, no, it's fine. What am I saying? I forgot to mention the type. So this is a pattern, right? Yeah, when you code in many languages, yeah, I tend to forget syntax a lot. So there's the pattern. So I need to pass the regular expression in there. And then I do the exact same thing inside fountain firework. So looking at the time, let me see. I think I don't want to push it too long to make the session too long. So we just stop on doing the patterns. But no, let's just say we stop on validate. If that's if we finish the patterns quick, we manage to do them quickly. And I'm going to do them quickly because I don't to be honest, guys, right? I cannot keep on re-explaining everything in every video. There's specific videos for that. For example, regular expressions. I even sent you links in the group chat for a clear, detailed explanation for regular expressions that I made last year. And also this year, I explained regular expressions. So go watch that. Me, I'll just write the answer. That's what I'm going to do because that's going to save me a lot of time, which makes your sessions also short. So let me go to the requirements. So it's going to be FID space and then that. So we're currently looking at rocket, right? So yeah, so let me do this. So rockets are distinguished by starting with FR prefix. So it starts with, and I'm gonna put the dollar sign and the cap there to say that it needs to match exactly with this pattern. There's no space at the end and there's no space at the beginning. So I need to starts with FR, and then prefix, and then both followed by a sequence of 6 digits. So a sequence of 6 digits. They didn't specify the range, so it's just 6 digits. So it means exactly six. So curly braces, 6, right? And then I'm gonna go back here. After FID, there's FName. So FName denotes the name of the firework, providing an easily recognizable identifier such as this. So basically, it's a name that has uppercase letters and small letters and a space. So it has this A to Z, small letters A to Z, and a space, and one or more of those. So done. And then fuse length specifies the delay before explosion measured in seconds. So it's 1.2 seconds. And they didn't specify how many digits in front or behind. So it's going to be backslash D plus followed by a dot backslash D plus. This would represent the double. And I'm forgetting something very important. They're all separated by tabs. I'm forgetting to include the tab. So here it's a tab. So let me do this. Let me put round brackets to distinguish that this piece of data is now different. So here I'm gonna have a tab, and then here, and then I'm gonna have a tab. Fuse length, yeah, I was still at fuse length, right? Yeah. And then color, e-color can be one of the colors, which is going to be a very long thing. Hey, this is annoying. Hey, this really pisses me off. There's so much, I don't know, there's a lot to do here. So you can imagine the semester test, how it's going to look. This is just basic. The semester test could also have Java effects, which is creating buttons and what. Imagine you have buttons, you have inheritance, you have interfaces, you have Java effects. There's just a lot. So if you don't practice now, you're cooked. It's not gonna end well. Yeah, it's sad to see students getting errors and they can't fix the errors. So what am I looking for again? I'm looking for the previous practical, right? So because I need to find oh no, I don't need, I just need a document. So let me go to ComSci 2A, practical 3. I just need a list of those colors so that I can put them in my regular expression. So yeah, you need to also have access to the previous practical so that you can list the colors. So these are all the colors that are available. So I'm gonna copy, or you can go into code. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Actually, let me use that method. So you can just look at your color. There it is. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think about that. And then copy, and then close, and then go. Let me open Notepad++, and then do this. So there's my colors. Put a pipe there for O, O, then magenta, then white, and then orange, and then CN, then CN, and then remove the semicolon, then copy this whole thing, go back to my regular expression, and then put brackets here, and then paste everything in there. So it'll be one of those colors. So you see one of these colors. And then Is there anything else after the color? So I need to close this document. What's after the color? We have, okay, since now we're dealing with rocket, we're still dealing with rocket. So I need a tab first. Then, so I'm gonna say \t brackets there. Then star count. Star count is also it's integer, right? So it's a double, it's a digit. So \d plus, because it can be 200, 2,000,000, doesn't matter. It's one or more. And then radius, we know that's a double. So I need to put a tab again after that star count. Then I'm gonna put the double, right? So \d plus followed by a dot, followed by another digit, one or more digit. And then this should be the complete regular expression. So let me go back here. Yeah, after radius, there's nothing. Oh, there's also color. So after radius, there's also color. So yeah, it's always important to double check. So \t for tab. You see how long this regular expression is? Yeah, it goes down here. If we don't start, it's not gonna end well. It's gonna end in tears. So VP color defines the color of the smoke, which is still a color. So I need to copy and paste those colors. So it's these colors over here. Um, so I just need to copy them and then paste them. So it's still one of those colors. CN, blah blah. Yeah. So that's everything. So that's everything for rocket firework. Then we're gonna go to fountain firework. So let me go to my regular expression and then copy it and then go to my class within the string here, paste it there. So that's the whole regular expression. You see how long this thing is? Yeah. If you don't, and if you have one wrong thing there, it's gonna be hard to find out where where you went wrong. So accuracy is very important. So private, static, final, pattern. This will be fountain pattern, right? Is equals to pattern dot compile dot com. Where is it now? Dot compile. And then you pass the regular expression in there. Then I import my pattern. Then yeah, then we come up with the formula. So I know it's going to be similar, so I'm not going to delete this, right? I'm going to leave it and change it accordingly. But be very careful. You need to know your stuff. Don't make errors. So I know this first four are the same. So up until color, it's the same. But then the ID is a bit different because they told you that FID, the fountain starts with FF, which stands for fountain firework. So FF stands for fountain firework. So I just need to change that fountain firework part only. Then after these colors, right? After here, see from here, going this side, I'm just going to delete like this, right? Because that doesn't match with that was unique. That was for fountain. That was for rocket firework. Then so basically we have the ID, and then we have the name, we have the fuse length, then we have the color, then tab, then we have something else. So let's see what we have for fountain firework. So we have F duration and transition colors. Transition colors. Interesting. So I have the formula for the transition colors, but it's kind of interesting. So let's see. We have yeah, you need to think here. You need to really think, critical thinking. So this is a double. F duration is a double, so that's simple. So it's going to be \d plus followed by a dot \d plus, then followed by a tab because everything is separated by a tab. Then this is the part that gets a bit interesting. So let's see that part. So this part, which is the last part, the transition colors. So the transition colors, if you look at the formula, you start with the left square bracket. So that's very straightforward. So just backslash left bracket. Why am I using the backslash? I'm escaping it so that it does, so that the regular expression machine, whatever, it doesn't think that I'm trying to specify a range. Remember, you in regular expression you use square brackets to specify ranges. So I need to escape that and say no, I don't want to use it for that purpose. I literally wanted the square bracket. So that's what that backslash is for. Then followed by any color, right? But if you look at this pattern, this is going to be very interesting. How am I going to structure the regular expression? Let me see. It can be one of colors, right? No, it can be a collection. So that would be wrong. Yeah, it can be a collection. Yeah, it can be a collection. So let me see. Okay, so this enumerates all transition colors produced by the fountain during its display. These colors are evenly spaced throughout the duration and formatted within brackets. The separated by a pipe symbol. So they're all separated by what? A pipe symbol. So I need to do that. So let me do this. Can you specify a pipe? Or the pipe is its own intended purpose, so we have to escape that pipe. So what I'm thinking, right, the formula that I'm thinking is you're going to specify that you're gonna write square brackets, right, and specify that it can be any of these colors or combined by the pipe, something like this, backslash pipe, right? Because the pipe is its own intended purpose. So including that pipe. So it can be a combination of any of these, right? So meaning it can be a red, maybe also a pipe or a color or a pipe and so forth, right? Then here I'd have to say one or more. So that's what I'm trying to do. But then remember, excuse me, and then remember colors, there's no such thing as colors. I have to list them, all of them one by one, like that. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me double check something before I do that. Let me confirm something. So let me copy the regular expression that I already had. Remember, you can test before you can test the portion to test maybe a specific formula. I want to test, let's say the formula is that you can either type hey or hi, followed by including a and one or more of those, right? So you can either type hey or hi or this pipe, right? So meaning you can have something like this and a pipe and hi or hey or hey again. So you see the formula does work. So I'm right. So this is the way you do it. I don't know how you're gonna think about that, but yeah, you need to really think in this thing. So my intuition was right. So I'm gonna put that formula back. Then here I'm gonna have those brackets. Yeah, no, now I feel like now you can understand why this website is called I hate regular expressions. I feel like now you can kind of understand, have an idea how the person created this website felt about regular expressions. So I'm gonna copy this and then I'm gonna put them here and say it can be one of this or the pipe itself. I need to escape the pipe, right? You see, I need to escape it. And then it can be one or more, right? Because I don't know exactly the number, how many they are. So I'm gonna put that plus there. And then that's the full regular expression. Then I'm gonna copy it, go back to my code. No, it's not. I'm wrong. Almost made a mistake. You need to put the closing square bracket. I almost forgot to put that. So let's put that first before we continue. So I'm gonna put round brackets and say escape and then you put the closing square bracket and then copy. Yeah, you need to really think, Shem. Maybe your practical is gonna be, it should be similar to this. So it's gonna be of this standard. So that's why I kept on reiterating, go practice regular expressions. That's very important because yeah, you need to think. So we have this. Now we can create the validate method, right? So we have our patterns, right? We have constants that stores our patterns. So what they want you to do is to create a validate method, which takes in the line that you're currently reading from the file and validates it to check if it matches with that pattern. So I need to take this and remember how the regular expressions work. You create a matcher. Remember, we need to do some matchmaking. So I'm gonna create here and say public. They said a static method, right? Meaning it can be called without creating an instance or an object. We call them class methods because they're part of the class. They're not they belong to the class and not to the instance. So I'm gonna say public static boolean, right? Because it must return true or false. And then it's called validate. And it takes in a line, a string line, right? And then that's it. Then I'm gonna put in Java doc. So I'm gonna say this is the I'm gonna say this is each line read from the file. And then it returns true if line represents a rocket firework. In simple terms, that's what it means. That's what the function does. So let's do the thing. What is this? The matchmaking, right? So I need to, before I do that, remember how I created my regular expressions. You might not create them the same way I've created mine. It's fine. I've put a dollar sign there and that cap there to say that this is where the line starts. It starts at exactly when you at exactly it starts exactly with two F letters, right? Or characters, and it ends exactly with a square bracket. There's no spaces after those two things. So I need to trim to remove those spaces. So I'm going to take that line, I'm going to trim it first, right? So I'm going to remove white space characters on both ends, meaning on at the beginning, meaning before the first letters, which is FF, and after the last character, which is that square bracket. So characters on both ends, right? So I'm gonna remove white space characters. And then after trimming, I know that now my line is exactly the way I want it to be. No spaces at the beginning and at the end. Then now I can create what we call a matcher. Remember, we need to do matchmaking here. So I'm going to create a matcher, right? Or you can do this. Let me see. It should have, yeah. You see, you need to read the textbook, guys. So you need to say return line dot matches. You don't have to always create a matcher separately because the string class has the matches method. It matches a specific regular expression. So you can just say here and then you pass the regex, right? The regular expression, which is a string. So you don't always have to create a match, right? But in this case, let me just create it. Yeah, let me just create it. Because why am I creating it? Because I decided okay, they're technically forcing you to use it because they told you to create the pattern in the class. So create that pattern as a static variable like this. So I actually need to create a matcher for that because I'm doing it the long way. So matcher, and then this will be a rocket matcher is equals to, okay, let me do this. Import, and then is equals to, what is this? Rocket pattern, dot matcher. I call the matcher method from the pattern class, which matches this pattern over here, or that regular expression, with this line. Then I return the status, like did it match or not? There's a matches method in the matcher class. So I'm going to say rocket matcher dot matches, which is a method that returns true or false to check if the line did indeed match with my pattern. So I don't have to put this in a variable. I just return that call to that function to make my life easy. And then I'm pretty much going to do the same thing in the other class. So I need to create a validate method again here because they said it should be in both classes. So public static type is Boolean because it must return true or false. Validate takes in a line that I've read from the file as the parameter. And then line, and then this is the line read from the file. And then it returns true if it matches. I don't have to explain that. I'm too lazy to type that. So I need to trim the line again. So line.trim to make sure my line or my string is in the right format. So I need to, we call this, in statistics, we call this data cleaning. So you clean your data before you use it. So it's the same thing that I'm trying to do here. I'm cleaning my data, make sure it's in the right format that I expect it to be in. Then I'm going to create a matcher, call this fountain matcher. Okay, let me import it first. So import, then it needs to be initialized to, and then I'm going to call my fountain pattern, right? So fountain pattern, I call the matcher method, and then I pass that line that I want to match it with. Then I'm going to return the status to check if it did match by calling the matches method. So if it's going to return true, if my pattern matches with that line, hence it's called matches. Yeah, so I think this should be where the session ends. There's quite a lot to take. There's quite a lot of information to ingest, right? Or to take in. So I should just end the session here, then we continue in the next tutorial. So the next tutorial is going to be pretty straightforward because we're only going to implement two functions, which is process line and read display. I think we can just have the session tomorrow, same time. Yeah, so I think we're just gonna have the session tomorrow so that we're done with the practical. So that you guys, maybe Monday, you go and practice something like that. You go practice. So you see, regular expressions is 10 marks. And if the regular expression is incorrect, that means this method is also gonna be incorrect, which means, yeah, you see that it's like it performs a chain reaction of incorrect and if of incorrect of losing marks. You're gonna have a chain reaction of losing marks if certain things are not proper. So this is how you guys are supposed to do it. So definition, there's 2 marks for that, 2 marks. We did all of that. So the only two things that are left, right, is 20 marks, which is okay, not 20, it's process line and yeah, it's 20 and read display. So we need to update or fix read display method. So yeah, that's it for today's tutorial. We'll continue tomorrow at the same time at 8 p.m. So now I'll just be taking any questions if anyone has questions. So let me stop recording first. And if anyone has any questions, you can simply unmute and let me know.